course, oh the delicious last course. One can eat their fill and still stay until the delicious last course. It's a delicious last course, oh that delicious last course. There's on cakes and pies, a dozen scones, oh my, for that delicious last course, oh.
Cuphead is one of my favorite video games ever. With unique aesthetics, gameplay, and bosses, there is no doubt that this game deserves all the attention and praise that it receives. And now, with the delicious last course finally out, I think it's about time that we go over this incredible game's history, story, gameplay, and connection to me. So join me as I explain this game's definitive analysis. The story starts off with two brothers, Chad and Jared Moldenhauer. They grew up watching tons of 30s cartoons from Walt Disney and Fleischer Studios. They also loved hard retro video games such as Contra, Battletoads, Metal Slug, and even Gunstar Heroes. I suck at all of these, by the way. And they had a dream to make a video game of their own. Once they grew up, and they decided to make that video game, even with little prior coding knowledge. After a lot of consideration, they decided to make a video game inspired off of 1930s cartoons they had grown up with, and the style of run-and-gun boss rush games. And they're born Cuphead, a 2D bullet hell video game with visuals inspired by early cartoons. The two brothers wanted their video game to be as close to early Rubber Hose cartoons as possible, so they decided to hand draw the animation instead of using computers, which led to much smoother animation, but took longer to make than that one piece of bacon that literally spent 10 minutes in the microwave and it's still raw. So anyways, the Moldenhauer brothers started work in 2010 and slowly started growing a team, mostly consisting of family, of artists, musicians, and actual programmers. And after 3 years of hard work, they were finally almost done with Cuphead, Don't Deal with the Devil, and it was set to release in 2014. But then they wanted to add more. And more. So much they remortgaged their house and quit their dang jobs. So, yeah, coming in 2015 now. In 2016. In 2017. Then, oh, it does come out in 2017. Okay. So after 7 years of hard work, Cuphead was finally out. It got raving reviews and critical feedback from game reviewers who couldn't beat the first level and called it Dark Souls unbalanced. And other than those people, the game was flawless. The glitches were a small problem. I mean, cut them some slack. They still did part of their programming themselves. Probably where the glitches came from. Other than those things, Cuphead was a hit. It sold millions of copies and somehow actually made a lot of money when the odds were against them in every way imaginable. But they did it, and they could move on with their lives. But then, they used all of that hard-earned money they earned, and instead of making a down payment on a house, or giving their employees a raise, or getting a real job, they made Cuphead, the delicious last course. Do you get it? Like, delicious last course, DLC, because it's DL with delays, glitches, and hard work and labor. But they enjoyed their time making it, and their family was finally paid. And people stopped calling it Dark Souls. And I think that's what really matters. Cuphead is about two moonshiners and their grandpa in the 1930s trying to live a happy life. You know, just making illegal moonshine. But one day, they decided to illegally gamble instead. And Cuphead, being an idiot, decided he should bet him and Mugman's souls on the line without Mugman's consent. They get snake eyes, they lose their souls, and beg the owner of the casino, the devil, to have mercy on them. The devil agrees to have them fetch the runaway souls of his debtors within midnight, and he will let them go. Of course, they run home to their grandpa, Elder Kettle, and ask how they can get these horrible monsters to hand over their souls to the devil. Weirdly, Elder Kettle just so happens to have a potion that can turn two boys into beast powerful enough to slay dragons. Okay, so Mugman and Cuphead set out on their journey to collect their souls so they don't get caught by the devil. Along their way, they find helpful NPCs and this one stupid lake guy who just mentally assaults you. They also find a mystical cup girl who keeps getting caught by the same dang ghost. Her name is Michelis, who might be important later. Anyways, gameplay-wise, it's really darn difficult and sometimes maddening. The inspiration of hard old retro video games is very apparent, which also makes beating a boss really, really, really rewarding. You can also buy new weapons that upgrade you in many ways. So, there's many different ways to play. You can do roundabout, chaser if you're a loser, this shotgun thing, charge shot, which is like the best in the game. It's cool. Many varieties. There are many ways to play, but my favorite weapon is roundabout. You can hit enemies while facing backwards. It does a lot of damage. It goes like everywhere. Like if you do its like super thing inside of Ribby and Croak, it's really good. Did I mention it's good? There's another way to beat bosses, and that is airplane mode. An airplane level can be summed up in 5 simple words. Why do I even exist? These levels are harder than that bacon that I burned when making bacon that one time because I didn't want to serve my family raw bacon again. There are some ways you cannot die in these levels, but they take work, and I hate working. Little mini mode where you become small, but you can't shoot the boss. Or bombs, but they are accessed until the second aisle. Long story short, plain boss hard. Simple as that. So back to the story. The Cup Bros. Is it okay if I call them the Cup Bros? So the Cup Bros make it through the aisles and eventually come upon the devil. And don't give him the souls and instead beat him to a pulp. He gives up. The residents of Inkle Isle live in peace. Without the devil. And Cuphead and Mugman are heroes. But then, one day, a mysterious, total stranger shows up at the Cup Bros' doors and tells them they can follow him to a new island where Miss Chalice needs their help, along with Old Man Jenkins. They completely trust him, and it turns out they don't die. Instead, Miss Chalice tells them about a cookie that kills Mugman. So Miss Chalice can steal his body, but it only works for like 3 to 5 minutes or so. So they have to fetch ingredients for this baker salt guy, who's definitely not evil, so they can make a tart that permanently kills Mugman. And everyone agrees, including Mugman. So you go around stealing ingredients from ice cold and giant cowgirls. And eventually, you get to the last ingredient and go to the baker salt guy, and he's evil all along. And he's like, yeah, I'm evil, I'll kill you, especially you, Mugman. So you put him in his place and beat him to a bloody pulp. He gives up, and they decide not to kill anyone. But Miss Chalice is still dead. The end.